y'all, I'm Sagan, but you can call me Sis. And this is part 1 of a 3-part series. And we're just gonna go ahead and call this thing the To-Do List Project, because that's exactly what we're gonna build together, a to-do list web application. And we're gonna kick things off with some HTML. It's the thing that holds it all together. Think of this step as putting together the wood framing of a house. That's really all it is. It's the structure. We're going to be coding from the ground up. So take a deep breath. You really don't have to know everything to get started. The trick is to just start. All right, come on, let's go. So here's what we'll be creating. A simple to-do list where you can type in your tasks and add them to the list. Tasks like take out the trash, and maybe even cut the grass. You can also cross out tasks as you complete them. And if you no longer want the task on your list, you can delete them. All right. Here are some of the things that you'll need. You'll need a code editor. I like to use Visual Studio Code. That's just my preference though. You'll also need a browser. I like to use Chrome. And then last but certainly not least, you're gonna need your brain. Please, please don't forget that one. All right? Okay, so let's keep it simple. So let's open up your code editor. If you're using Visual Studio Code, go ahead and open up that. All right, now we're gonna create a new folder called To-Do List Project. Then from there, you're gonna open up your folder in Visual Studio Code and create a file called index.html. And don't forget to put the .html in there. All right, let's get into it. Now inside of your HTML file, I want you to type an exclamation mark and then press tab. This is a shortcut that's commonly used to create the HTML5 boilerplate or template. As you can see, you see exclamation mark .type HTML. This tells the browser this is an HTML5 document. Then underneath that, you have the HTML element. And this is the root element. It wraps everything. And directly underneath that, you have the head element. It contains stuff about the page like the title and the settings. All right, since we're here, let's change the title to My To-Do List. Next, let's start filling up the body. Now the body is the area where we place things in here and it actually shows up on the screen. To make this easier for us, let's look at a screenshot of what we want our to-do list to look like. So first, let's create a div to wrap around everything that we'll create in here. This will be an invisible container. Next, we need a pretty large heading, so we'll use the H1 tag. And we'll put My To-Do List in here. Next, we need to create an input area and a button. These types of elements are usually placed inside of a form, so we'll do that. We'll create a form. The input will be where you type your tasks, and just like the screenshot, we'll give it a placeholder that says add a task. Placeholders are usually just used to let the user know what the input field is used for. And then the button will be used to submit or add the task. So we'll give it a type of submit. As you can see, you can hover over some areas and VS Code will provide descriptions. Here are the different types for buttons, and also here's a description of what the input element is used for. I like this feature because it saves me from having to Google a lot of things. Okay, next up we have our list of tasks, and as you can see, they are not numbered. So we'll create an unordered list. And inside that list, we'll create 3 list items, just like what you see in the screenshot. So UL is an unordered list, and LI is short for list item. So the first list item will be clean your code, because nobody likes spaghetti code. The second is apply for tech roles, because we got to get that moolah, baby. And then the third one is take a break, because everyone needs one at some point. You know what? Let's add a fourth. And we're gonna make it workout for 30 minutes. I feel like developers forget to do this sometimes, so it's much needed on our list. Okay, now let's take a look at what we got. So save your file. I like to press Command S, or if you're running on Windows, you can press Control S. And that'll save your file. And then go up to run, then run without debugging. Okay, our to-do list is coming together. You can see that our tab up here says exactly what we put in our title tag. Inside of our screen, we see our large heading that we created using the H1 tag. And then directly below that, we see our input area and our button that we created inside our form. And then lastly, we see our list. Right now, we are able to type in the input field, but the add button does not add the task like it should. That's where JavaScript will come into play, which I'll talk about in another video. But baby steps, y'all. Let's first celebrate this win, and then let's move along to styling our page a little. So follow along in my next video to go over some CSS, and then we'll add in some JavaScript to get the to-do list working like it should. Also, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and also comment below with any questions that you may have. All right, y'all, I will see y'all in the next video.